Full-time siren sounds as Latrell Mitchell gets ready to take the conversion. 28-16 kick to come. The Broncos have recorded their first win for season 2024. The siren sounds. The misery is over for the Brisbane Broncos. And what a statement from the Melbourne Storm. They are the team to beat without doubt in 2024.
Breaking news, gents. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Kevin Walters.
What?
Sacked.
What?
No.
Really? Saying the Brisbane Broncos have parted ways with coach Kevin Walters following a dramatic end to the 2024 season. Wow.
So that was the story of the season for the Brisbane Broncos. 12th after finishing second, famously finishing second in 2023 with an 18-6 record. 10-14, 12th on the ladder. I heard Benny Davis talk about it there. Payne Haas, 14 games. Yeah. Adam Reynolds, 13 games. Reece Walsh, 14 games. Michael, where do we see the issue with the Broncos?
Yeah, that's a crucial stat there. The fact that their three best players didn't play more than 14 games.
Yep.
Right? That hurts. I get that. We all understand that. But the fact that they were 20 minutes away from winning the grand final the year before.
No, they were 3 minutes away from it.
But it turned.
Yeah, of course it turned.
Nathan Cleary's best 20 minutes you ever see in a grand final.
Yes.
And they just never recovered from it. They just didn't. It was such a fall from grace. I know the year before Parramatta lost the grand final and then didn't make the 8, right? Like the similar trajectory for Brisbane, but they didn't have the talent that Brisbane have.
Correct.
And the players that Brisbane have, except for Adam Reynolds, are in their about to hit their peak or in their peak.
Yep.
Right? Where Parramatta had that aging roster and style of play, right? So Brisbane's disappointment was huge. It was huge. It was, their off-field discipline was poor.
Why?
Well, just the rumblings that came out of it, even the fact that Reynolds and Carrigan, it's minor offence, right? When they're rumbling in the, all this small stuff that you heard out of Brisbane post grand final culminated in a season which was horrific for Brisbane.
It felt like, and it certainly looked like at the back end of the season, that they didn't do the work required.
Whether or not that's off the back of, but you can't give them excuses because we see what Penrith have been able to reproduce time after time when Penrith players are coming back later than everyone because they finish later.
Yes.
And a lot of that squad play representative football, whether it's for Samoa, like a lot of Samoan representation over Penrith over the past couple of years in Australia and New Zealand.
Yep.
So you can't use that as an excuse. I just think the fact that their young squad, Broncos' young squad, a youngish squad, didn't deal with those factors. One, the success that came the year before and how close they came to winning a premiership, and the fact that they came back later to a preseason and they probably hadn't done any work in the lead up to that.
So round 21, they lose 41-16 to the Bulldogs. Then they lose 46-18 to the Gold Coast. They beat North Queensland. They beat Parramatta, albeit just. Then they lose to the Dolphins 40-6 at Suncorp. And then they lose 50-12. It's not just the losses at the back end; it's the magnitude and the manner of the losses. That was the concern, and that was the concern for management when they looked at it and said, "Are we trending in the right direction?" Clearly, no. But do we have a belief that Kevin Walters can turn this around? And they've come up with no as their answer.
And look at some of the side. Like Canterbury struggled to score points a lot throughout the season. Right? They put 41 on them. Gold Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The Gold Coast Titans pumped them. And then the Dolphins.
Yep. Who can't score points.
Who couldn't score points, right? Yep. You see that last game against Melbourne.
Yep.
It's not an excuse, but it's understandable when you look at that score. You go, Melbourne is elite, right? But when you're looking at that back quarter of the season and you're assessing whether players are still playing for the coach, whether the players' commitment's still there, whether that attitude is right in the joint, and you have to say no.
I know NRL coaches were looking at the defence of the Broncos in those last few games and going, oh my goodness, what has happened here?
Yeah.
There is no commitment to whatever the system was. Not sure what system it was, but there was no commitment to that. There was no commitment to each other. So once that starts to go defensively, that's a really, really significant trend that needs to be arrested very quickly.
And I think it can.
Your man Michael Maguire in there, just for 2 years.
Maybe 3.
Win the comp and out.
Yeah. Gun for hire.
Gun for hire. But you said it the other day. I totally believe it. Perfect fit for the Brisbane Broncos. What the Broncos need, they get in Michael Maguire.
Perfect appointment.
So there you go. Give us your grading.
F.
Yeah, F.
F.
Because of the quality of that roster.
F. Capital F.
Give us your thoughts. 1300 01 1170. It's the boys of summer. All thanks to Bryden's Lawyers.